Hi everyone, welcome to 90 Degree Turns, where we expand the minds, beliefs, and perspectives of the collective and awaken the sleeping many. I'm your host Trisha Margus, and today we have the pleasure of speaking with my friend Miyoko, who is a spiritual channel. Hello Miyoko, how are you today?
Hi Trisha, I'm good. Thank you for having me on your program.
No problem, I'm glad we're here. So I love if you could talk about your awakening experience and what led you to channeling.
Yes, I love awakening stories. So I come from a family who has spiritual leanings. My father, going back to his grandmother and my mother's side, have spiritual leanings. So I was already a little predisposed to my awakening, is how I feel, like looking retrospectively. So a few years back, I was graduated from college, really excited to work, got into the workforce, was like living like a normal life of what you think, like go to school, get your degree, get a job, and then eventually do all the other things that like make a happy person. And I was working a lot, I was feeling stressed out, and I didn't genuinely feel happy. And I was raised Buddhist, so I had a Buddhist foundation that like sort of taught me how to deal with stress and anxiety and how the universe is connected and how I can help myself move through the world. And even with that Buddhist practice, which I felt like at the time I was like understanding more intellectually than like actually in my life, I was still struggling. So in the Buddhism I was raised in, it's Mahayana Buddhism based on the Lotus Sutra. And one of the tenets is actually that we're all one and connected. But so I was having a really hard time, and I was just hitting like a breaking point, like an existential crisis point, where I felt like, what's the point? Why am I doing all this? I'm working so hard. I'm a good person. I was spending a lot of time volunteering in my Buddhist organization and in other organizations like the Red Cross and like doing all the things I felt like a person who should be happy is doing. And I didn't feel like absolutely happy. And it just started to like weigh me down, and I started to question everything. And Trump's election was actually like this catalyst point for me. And I care about politics, I care about how our society operates, but I don't think the politics was the reason. It just like, it was like another thing where I was like, we're doing everything right, we're trying to improve, we're trying to be better, I'm trying to be better. And I just felt like this like resonance and reflection with like things not going right in our country, and they're not going right in my life. And so I remember just like I broke down. I stayed home from work for like a week, and I cried and I prayed, and I had hit a point where nothing made sense. Everything I knew, it was like, well, I know I'm like being told all these things, I've learned all these things that are supposed to be helpful, and I don't feel like I understand everything. I don't feel like I'm succeeding. What's the point? So I was praying from this like broken, empty place of like, I'm so tired. I'm so tired of working so hard. I'm so tired of trying to be a good person. I was just tired. I'm like, there's people in society who are not good people and they're succeeding. And that was like an example. And I was just like, why do we do anything? Why do we do any of it? Like, it was probably like the lowest point I had ever been. And like, thank goodness I had that Buddhist faith and practice to fall back on. Because if I had this like falling apart crisis without like something to fall back on, and like props to anyone who's having a spiritual awakening without any kind of support, like I commend you. Like, you're doing amazing. But so like I fell back on that, and I just prayed, and I think I prayed for like 4 days, like 3 hours, and like on sounds like on the fourth day, but like on like one of the days I was like crossing into the fourth hour of my prayers, and it's a chant. It's Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, which is a translation of the title of the Lotus Sutra. And I was just praying, and I was like, I don't know anything, just tell me the answers, tell me the truth. And just put from like a raw like I genuinely did. I surrendered. I completely surrendered. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what to believe. I didn't know how to feel. I didn't know anything. I felt like empty, just like tired and empty. And I had this experience where I felt energy move from the base of my spine up to my skull, and my whole crown started tingling. And it was such a like visceral experience. And then after that, I felt this wash of, and this is the hard part of trying to explain it to people, because when you try to put it into words, you feel like you can never actually touch the experience itself. The best way I can describe it is it felt like pure love, pure acceptance, pure belonging, that knowing that everything was one and everything was all right and I was safe. And I didn't realize, how unsafe and unworthy I felt, or whatever it was. I didn't realize how disconnected I felt. That's the word, disconnected. And in that moment, I felt the connection of everything, and just everything just like made sense. And then I immediately started weeping after that experience ended and the energy sort of like passed through me. I wept, like, like the ugly kind of weeping where you're just like snot coming out of your face, just like, oh my God. No one should see you in that way. It's like, no, don't look at me. Yeah. Just like shatteringly, tragically, disgustingly, just weeping. And then everything shifted. It's like after that moment, I started having more extrasensory experiences. So like growing up, I used to have like dreams that came true. People in my family have premonitions. Some people in my family see ghosts. It was like very much like, I always had like that current going on in my family. So it wasn't like a stretch. And like with the basis of Buddhism, it felt like I had this black and white blueprint. And all of a sudden I could see the blueprint in like full Technicolor. Everything made so much more sense. Buddhist principles that I had spent my life like studying like made sense on a bigger and smaller and more in-depth scale or way. And that I was having all of these thoughts about the way the universe worked, and I was like untangling misunderstandings that I had, and I was feeling more connected to people. And, I told you I took the week off, so it's like having this transcendent experience, and then going back to work is like rough, because then you're like, well, yes, and then you can accept people, but then you're also like, why are we doing any of this? Like I started having this like
existential crisis.
Yeah, it just
like, what's
continued.
The point again?
Yeah,
from a different perspective, it sounds like you've gained awareness from another level that it doesn't seem as dreadful.
Yes, and then it was like, if everything is fine in the universe and anything's possible, I can do whatever I want. And also having these experiences. So I'm talking in a little bit of circles. I'm a little nervous. Having these experiences, these like psychic experiences, I was having like premonitions, which I had before, but like, more spaced out, more gentle, non-super specific. And these ones felt like very visceral. Having these dreams, and I even started to see energy. Like I know you can learn how to like see prana, like if you go in nature and you can see like the spiraling energy, you can see it. I started to see that just like everywhere I went, and I was outside, inside, and I was like, I'm losing my mind. Like, are my eyes working? And I started just having all of these like extrasensory experiences. So it was like I had this awakening, and then I had visceral proof experiences, I think, and I'm glad, because I probably wouldn't have like continued. It might have fizzled out or something. So yeah, having all these understandings, and eventually finding out about channeling. Actually, I didn't find out about channeling right away. I had the questions like, why do we need to do anything we're doing? So then I have always believed that we have spirit guides, and that we have people who walk through our lives with us, because you have moments of like you feel protected, or you have a guardian angel, or someone's looking out for you. So now I'm like, well, I want to talk to them. Like I want to know what's going on. Like now that I have all this understanding, now what? Like what am I supposed to do with myself? Like I can't just go back to work and pretend like I'm a normal person. Like that energy. No. Yeah. I'm not seeing honeycombs of energy around birds. No. So I went to a metaphysical bookstore and I bought a book. I literally just like went there. I just following my intuition. I now see. And I picked up a book. It was like How to Channel, How to Connect with Your Guides was the smaller font. And I just like didn't think about the channeling part. I was like, oh, connect with your guides. This is the book I need. I'm going to buy this and go home. And I went home and I did the meditation. There's like an exercise and a meditation. And they have you go through these exercises, and I got to this place where I was in a like meditative state, you know, like that altered state, and feeling like this, you know, you feel like good feelings sometimes when you're meditating. You just feel like calm and
like centered.
Yeah, centered. And then I started seeing these faces floating in my meditation, in my inner sight. And I mean, it sounds crazy. I know your viewers are awake, so that doesn't sound crazy to them. I saw a lion being, and it was so clear. It was so clear, and I could feel the energy coming off the being, and the being was smiling at me, and I felt love and compassion radiating off the being, and I literally, like, snapped out of my meditation. I was like, I think I'm losing my mind. Like, that's when I was like, and no spiritual background can prepare you for seeing a lion person in your meditation. And I always believe that aliens exist, and I was always waiting for the day that they came down, and I was like, it's not going to be like the movie, it's going to be totally different. Like, I've always been that person. But then here I am being faced with, like, a lion energy being, and I'm seeing a face. It looks like a lion. So I think, like all millennials, I grab my laptop and I'm like, lion being, like, Googling, like, what it is. And then I found this whole, like, I just found
you've opened the Pandora's box of information.
Didn't know I was being, like, led with breadcrumbs to this place. And I found out all about, like, Pleiadians, Arcturians, Orion beings. I found this girl, her name's Krista Riza. She's a channel, and she was channeling these Orion beings. And, like, initially, I was like, and she kind of looks like me, and that probably, like, helped me. I don't know why that doesn't, like, she's, like, a mixed girl, and I was like, what is this? And I started listening to it, and a lot of what I was hearing resonated with all of the, like, new ideas and thoughts and feelings I was having. So then I was, like, Googling, like, what is channeling? And then I found, like, kid you not, like, the weekend, it was, like, a Thursday or Friday, and that weekend there was a woman, the woman who channels Theo was in Los Angeles, and she was having an event, and I could buy a ticket, and I was like, that's just too, what are the odds?
What a coincidence.
What a coincidence. What a synchronicity. And then I was, like, freaked out, and I was like, no, I, like, slammed my laptop. I'm like, no, I'm just going to go to bed. I'm going to, like, let it go. But then something kept pulling me back. So they're, like, pulling me back to, like, I wanted to understand, because you can't just open the lid and then forget it. It's too difficult, because once you know and you feel it, and I was like, that feeling of the awakening experience, I've never felt anything so beautiful and wonderful and, like, delicious in my life. Like, it was, like, the most amazing feeling I had ever experienced. So I couldn't feel badly about it. And I also was like, why don't we have that feeling all the time? So that desire to understand was still present. So I finally brought myself to see Bashar, and then Abraham, and then I started listening to it, and I was getting a reflection of everything I had been thinking and feeling being repeated back to me from somebody else. So I was like, well, if they're thinking it, and I thought all these things by myself, and I was thinking I was crazy, like, I must not be crazy. So I, like, kept it secret for a while, and I was, like, really hesitant about it, and I just kept meditating because I liked how it felt. And I was seeing things, and they were more interesting than the things I was seeing at work or with my friends or in my life. Like, it became just, like, this, like, I don't even know how to explain it. Yeah, like, you can't, nothing can scratch that itch other than more, like, more
of the
understanding.
same thing of that.
Yeah, yes.
I understand.
So that's basically how I ended up in this path, and through more synchronicities, ended up channeling.
Cool.
Yeah,
wow.
That was long, so sorry.
No, it's great, though. I love hearing stories like this, because I think it's a really unique perspective that you bring to the table. And so I would love to know then, so what does it feel like when you connect and you're, like, in that zone of channeling? I mean,
that's a great question, because it's different.
Because, I mean, I don't channel. I don't know, maybe some of our viewers
totally
do.
Try, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to learn.
I think it's a catalyst for awakening, too, and having more understanding and a deeper connection. But if you feel called to that, then definitely seek that out. So it feels different at different times. Like, when I first started, the energy was very intense. And so I sort of feel the energy mostly start like in my crown chakra, like coming in. Like I feel it coming in. And sometimes there's like a sort of spiral is like the feeling. And I've had different sensations in the channeling state. Like one example is I start to feel like my energy expand, and I don't necessarily feel like a body. I'm still like aware of my body sometimes, but it feels like I'm this ball of energy. I'm more expansive, and it feels different, and it feels good, like a meditation, like when you're in a good state. And there is sometimes when it feels like I'm still sort of present, and you can still feel the energy coming in, but it's a little more softer sometimes. And then as the session goes on, then I start to feel more like in that energy. But I can like sort of sense my presence, like my personality. I'll call myself my personality, like present with what's happening.
Okay.
And then there's other time where I feel so deep in it that I don't remember what happened in the session, and I have to I listen back to the recording. Yeah. And sometimes in any of those cases, like sometimes I'll remember bits of the session, and sometimes I won't remember any of it. So I don't know like what the level of connection is, but I know from when I started it was like a much more intense energetic feeling, and now it feels softer. I can feel the difference and feel the energy come in, but it doesn't feel as strong.
So then when you started channeling, or even when you channel right now, how do you know what you're channeling is benevolent?
When I started...
The process that you go through?
Yeah, I had and I sort of copied it from that channeling book a little bit and augmented it for myself, for my own comfort. And it was like I would start saying to myself, I'm connecting with the highest love and light and benevolent energy that I can connect with. So I would just put that pure intention out, because I was still in that I want to understand more, because now that I was having these understandings and they were starting to settle in, like I said, into this blueprint, this black and white blueprint, it was still like not enough. And it's questioning, right? Because then you're doubting yourself, because everything you've lived before then, even me with having extrasensory experiences and having family members who can see ghosts, like that's not like the average person's experience. Yeah. So even having more spiritual interactions, even having that, I was still questioning everything. And I think it's healthy to question everything when you're going through your spiritual awakening too, and being very
I think constantly though, like discernment and going through that is,
and if something changes,
a matter that has to be, I think it's very important in our community to just that you have to question everything.
Yes, and you
question
it
again
healthy.
And again, because something new might come up, something might change.
Yes,
it's a key point.
Yeah,
if I had to say anything
and I think
about it,
it's important because especially in our society, there can be a lot of blind faith. And the one thing I could appreciate about the Buddhism I was raised in was questioning was encouraged, because it wasn't about you just accepting. There's a priest wrote a letter to one of his disciples, and he said, don't follow me, don't follow the priesthood, follow, it's like following your inner knowing and like aligning with the universe in that way, and not so much like allowing an intermediary to be your guide pathway or into the, So that questioning was a big part for me, and I would like have these conversations with myself, like checking, like, am I crazy? Or is this really happening? Like, am I opening up to another level? And my mom has always been spiritually in touch, and she's always had friends that are spiritually in touch, and they would always tell me things like, you're psychic and you don't touch it. And I'm just like, no. I
don't know what you're saying.
Yeah. I'm just like, no. Yeah. So it was like I had some forewarning, and even then it was very difficult to go through the awakening process and to go through the channeling process. And especially in the beginning when I started channeling, I was like doubting like the information that was coming into my consciousness, but it all made sense. It all made me feel better, like feeling better in the interaction, this energy exchange. I felt good. I never felt drained. I never felt tired. I always felt rejuvenated afterwards. So the energetic presence, sort of like I explained the lion being, feeling the compassion and love, I felt safe, and I felt like I was I was feeling more energized or more calm afterwards, or I was becoming more open and more loving, and I would start to like notice certain thoughts I had, and I just feel like it brings in this higher energy, and it allows you to work through stuff that's like in your field and beliefs that you have and things like that.
So it helps you grow.
Yeah,
Simply
I think it's wonderful, and if people are interested, I think they should really try, because I'm feeling very blessed, and also it's like there's so much more, and there's so much more understanding that can be experienced.
Does it ever end, in your opinion? Or do you think
I feel
can
like
constantly just keep on growing?
You can
growing?
constantly like go layers deeper and unearth parts of yourself and change parts of your life, and you can always go deeper. There's always more to get out of the experience, in my experience.
So would channeling kind of just be a tool to help you grow and expand?
I think it is. I think it genuinely is. I think it's a tool for ascension.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that just introduction and your experience and telling us your journey. So do we want to get into a little session here?
You want to talk to the seekers?
Yeah. Let's jump into it.
So I'll just need like a minute, or I don't know how long it'll take for me to drop in and for them to come in.
Take as much time as you need.
Yeah, and then they'll usually say something and announce themselves.
Yeah.
As you've experienced.
Yeah. Take your time.
Yes, we are with you now.
Hello, seekers.
Hello.
So I was wondering if you could introduce yourselves to us. We are on an interview today, and so it'd be nice if you could let our viewers here know about who you are and what's your mission.
Yes, we are the seekers. You may call us the seekers. Names are not important to us, but we know these can be helpful for you to focus when you are connecting with our energy. We are a non-physical collective consciousness. We are not experiencing physicality and bodies such as you and the channel.
And what is your mission?
We are teachers. We are experiencers. We are seekers. We are seeking understanding and experience. We are seeking understanding. We are seeking the understanding of love, the expressions of love that we are, that you are.
Do you experience different types of love?
When you say love, we would like you to define what you are meaning when you say love.
Well, here on Earth, we have different kinds of things we would classify as love. We have like romantic love, there's platonic friendship love. Um, some people can experience like a universal love for just the appreciation of a plant or a nice sunny day.
Yes, we would say these are all expressions, colors, tints of the one love, the one energy of all that is, of source energy.
Okay. So could you let us know a bit more about where you reside?
Yes, we are residing outside of your physical dimension. We are experiencing differently. We are not having bodies. We are beyond manifestation.
In a physical form.
Yes, we will accept this.
Okay. So as a collective, could you tell us, are you a group of beings together, or are you just one whole essence?
You may think of us as one essence or a collection of essences. We are not having definitions of ourselves in this way, though we know you are seeking understanding. When we are experiencing ourselves, we are experiencing the many. We are experiencing the oneness of the many. And we are also experiencing collective beingness.
Can you expand upon what you mean by collective beingness?
When you are having your physical experience, you are having an experience through the filter of your personality. You are, Trisha, you are having preference, you are having tastes, and you are having desires, and these desires are specific to you. You are experiencing yourself from a standpoint of separation, from a point of focus where you are having the experience of having an individualized personality. We are not having this experience of individualized personality. We are not named Trisha. We are not even named the seekers, but we give a name for your assistance, for your understanding.
Where you reside, is there such a thing as a hierarchy of any sort?
We would not say hierarchy. We would say there is organization. There are levels, there are different experiences, and there are different desires and expressions of those desires. But we are not having a boss who is saying, this is your role and this is my role. You are having a role and you are experiencing your role as your personality as Trisha. But when we would say the word hierarchy in your society has an emphasis on separation and the idea that one is better or more valuable than another. And we would say you are as valuable as we are.
Thank you for that. Could you tell us what your reality is like?
Oh, we would love to explain to you, but there is limitation in your language. When we are experiencing ourselves beyond the use of your language. For example, when we are connecting with the channel and You are having a conversation in linear time. You are experiencing our energy through the words of the channel, but the channel is not receiving words from us. She is not repeating what we are telling her in her ear. She is relaxing and opening her being and allowing our energy to flow, and when this flow happens, it is translated into language that you may understand, and even in that interaction there's limitation, because your language itself, though you have many words and it is colorful and you have fun using your language, you have songs, you have poems, you have many uses for your language, but your language by definition is limiting. When you are experiencing communication with another in your reality, you are needing to use your words, and you are needing to say your words to the other out loud, and the other may not understand a definition of the words you are speaking, and you may misunderstand what they are saying to you. Where we are existing in our existence, we are not having this sort of communication. We are non-physical. We are experiencing communication, but we are experiencing communication much differently than you are experiencing communication. Because you are filtered into your personality, and you are experiencing individuality, you are experiencing your individual energy field. As we said, you have communication with another, and you are saying to the other how you are feeling. This person may interpret accurately or inaccurately what you are communicating, but there is more happening in your communication than just the language that is being translated, but that depends on how open the person is and how connected to energy understanding and interpretation the person you are communicating is. We will give you an example. One moment. When you are knowing someone for a long time, you are having the perception of experience and history with this person. You are therefore more familiar with each other's vibrations. You are understanding when they are using less words. You are understanding their sentiment and what they are communicating to you. You experience this with your twin and your siblings as well. You feel a resonance. You may start a sentence and they are able to finish it, and you do not need to have your full discourse for them to understand you. And then you may meet a stranger and you feel they are not listening to you, and they are not hearing you, and they are not understanding you. You are basing your interpretation on what you are receiving from the other, and the other is basing theirs the same, but there can be miscommunication depending on understanding and intention and openness to energy. When we are communicating with others, we are not experiencing separation, so we have more transparency. We'll use the word transparency because we are energy. We are having non-verbal communications. We are able to impress upon another our feelings, our thoughts, our desires without having a formalized communication using language. So when you are trying to express a feeling, you often experience as humans that it may be difficult to put all the words on the feeling you are experiencing and to convey to another that you are having this complex experience. You may only translate some of that experience with words to the person, and even with your explanation, that person will not fully understand your experience because they are not able to perceive your experience as you are experiencing your perceptions, your experience, your feelings. Do you understand our meaning?
I do. So then I want to follow up with a question of then, is there anything we can do to become better communicators?
Oh, this is a wonderful question. When you are opening and working with your energy, and you are opening your heart space, you are opening to the translation of energies. We will use an example to make this tangible. When you are meeting a new person, you are receiving perceptions. Some of these perceptions may be based on egoic judgment. Other perceptions may be based on a knowing. You are meeting someone and you are saying, I feel like I've known you. I feel like I know you. And you feel safe or trustworthy with some people immediately. You feel resonant with some people immediately. And with others, there is a deep knowing that you are not. With others, there is a feeling that you are. We would not like to say not safe as if there is danger, but you will feel less comfortable sharing with this person, with the person you are feeling you are not feeling resonance with them. These are interpretations of energy. These are communications you are receiving, informations you are receiving. If you are not open, you are not able to receive this energy. And if you are not able to receive this energy, your experience may be a little more challenging. You are opening to this energy and you are receiving this feedback and learning to understand. You are able to move with more ease through your reality and your experience. And we would also like to say, one moment. When you are living in an ego space and you are not open to higher consciousness, you are often feeling like you are a victim. You are often feeling like you are not sovereign. You are not having the ability to affect your reality. You are feeling you are at the whim of chance. When you are opening yourself and you are understanding energy and connection, you are able to intuitively follow the direction and the potential and possibility of what you are desiring to experience. But if you are closed off, you are not open to these communications. And so not only is your communication limited with your inner being and the universe and others, your awareness of yourself is lessened.
So then may I ask then how can we as humans try and expand our own selves that we can communicate better?
Yes,
what are ways that we can
clarity of the question. We would say meditation is a wonderful tool for humans. You are able to create space and openness. You are able to allow in higher consciousness, higher frequency. Depending on the place a person is in, they may be able to do energetic work with their belief systems. If they are unaware they are having belief systems, we would suggest beginning with meditation. If you are having awareness of the fact that you are creating your reality, then you are able to begin to work with your energy. You are able to begin to clear beliefs that are hindering your expression, your full expression. You are source energy incarnate. You are beings. You are powerful beings. You are sovereign. You are capable of creating the reality you desire. You are not having this awareness on a mass scale often, but this is changing.
Can I ask, when you mean you, do you mean me specifically or humans as a collective?
We mean humans as a general collective, yes.
Thank you for the clarification. When you speak of meditation, is there a particular type that you would suggest, or does a variety of meditations work? I know there's like walking meditations, or even just doing something that brings complete joy to someone. Can that put them in the path of more alignment and opening their heart space?
Yes, these are wonderful questions. Yes, you may follow the path of your excitement and interest. There are natural built-in, we will call them packets. There are natural packets that are waiting for you within your interest and your desire. And when you are following these, they may be easier for you to unpack and move in the direction you are seeking. So we would say that you should follow your intuition. You should follow which option feels most exciting for you. And one moment. Yes. We would say that if you are following this moment, you are naturally following your path of joy. You are naturally flowing with the universe in the path of least resistance. When you are experiencing more ease, you are able to experience more joy. And when you are experiencing more joy, you are more open to the universe. You are more open to what you may receive. You are more open to possibility. Joy can be a wonderful opener, but sadness can also be a wonderful opener. We would not say to judge either, but wherever you are finding yourself is where you may begin. And you may, from the moment and the place you are in, move in the direction of improvement.
Thank you. I really appreciate that explanation. So I'd like to go into, in our reality here in the third dimension, we have time and it's pretty linear from the way we experience it. There seems to be a lot of some would classify as chaos. There's just a lot of energy going around, and a lot of people have all these different opinions, and it doesn't seem like anyone can get on the same page. Is this a natural process of growing, and what can we do to kind of smooth the path out? So is there anything we can do to not make life feel so chaotic?
We would like you to restate the first part of your question, but we would like to say something first. We would not like you to judge. One moment. When you are saying chaos, in human language, there can be a connotation of judgment, a connotation of it being negative. And we understand that you are seeking peace and a certain vibrational experience. And you also understand you are in an ascension process. And there are those who are going through this ascension process just as you are, but they may be less aware, or they may have more resistance. They are going through the ascension process from whatever place and state they are in, so their expression of their being may look different from yours, and it may be chaotic. And we would say not to judge this chaos, and to see the contrast as feedback that you are seeking. You are desiring to have a more peaceful growth and transition, but we would also like to state that human beings often want a point A to a point B, and they want it to be a straight line and look exactly as they expect it to look, and that is possible, but it is not always how the universe works. And you must understand that each being has their own personality, their own desires, their own beliefs, their own resistance. They have their own way that they will unfold, and when you are coming from a place of understanding, you will see that however they are unfolding is the path of least resistance for them, or in other words, they are doing the best they can, and they may not be having access to the tools and understanding and level of consciousness that you are having, and so they are creating a little more clumsily, and they are making messes. And we would say, we understand you do not like messes, you do not want to clean up messes, but when you have a child that is making a mess, you do not tell the child, you stupid child, you are making messes, you have no place in my home. So we would say to treat your others in your society in this loving way where you understand they are growing in the way that they can. And when you are having more compassion and understanding and you are less polarized in your attention and focus and belief systems, you will create for yourselves a reality with more ease and more peace. But you cannot blame another for... We would like to rephrase. When you call another bad, you cannot be good. When you are seeing people from a position of polarity, you are not outside of the polarity, you are within the polarity. If you are outside of the polarity or in the state of neutrality, you are understanding that there is no judgment in higher frequency.
Can you tell us more about ascension for those who might not be familiar with the term? What is ascension in your eyes?
You are moving through, in your reality on earth, you are moving through a path. You have your... One moment. There are clues left in your society. For example, the Mayans were aware of the timing and the shift within the reality, and you are now moving into a feminine opening period, and you are growing and shifting, and you are moving back to source. You are moving back to higher frequency creation. You are... We will not use this word. One moment. When you were seeking understanding and experience, you created separation. When you are experiencing separation, you are seeking to experience more oneness again, and you are moving, you humanity. When we say you, we are speaking of humanity. You are moving in the direction of this reintegration, of this path to oneness, to experiencing oneness.
Can you expand upon the term consciousness and what that means?
Oh, that is not a small question.
It is not.
You are consciousness. The universe is consciousness. This table is consciousness. This plant is consciousness. The other beings are consciousness. Everything in your universe is made of consciousness. We will try to give you an example. You have a fish tank, and you have a fish, and you have water. The water, to the fish, the water is not water. The fish is experiencing itself. The water is consciousness, the fish is consciousness, the tank is consciousness. But from the perspective of the fish does not understand the water and the tank the way you do. You are moving through consciousness. You are created of consciousness. Consciousness is what you are. It is what we are.
Could it be said that it's an awareness of sorts?
We would not limit it to be one thing in this way, but you could say awareness is realization and acknowledgement of consciousness.
And it exists regardless if we are aware of it or not.
We would say the amount of awareness may vary between person to person as you have experience. And we could say the amount of higher consciousness or the amount of consciousness varies from person to person.
So I'd like to dive into the topic of energy. You mentioned earlier that every being, everything emits a frequency of energy
Yes.
that allows it to interact with one another.
Yes.
So knowing that, I guess, I mean, there's a lot to cover.
We would say, for example, this leaf on the plant is having one frequency, and this leaf on the plant is having another frequency. They are of the same plant, but each leaf is having a different frequency.
And that's how it makes its own individual self. It becomes its
There
own leaf
are
because
scientific explanations such as location and position and time and space and frequency. For example, your scientists have recently discovered transmitting light, that light can be in two places at one time. Or we will bring the analogy. One moment. Have you seen A Wrinkle in Time?
No.
Alright, in the movie A Wrinkle in Time, there is a father, and he is a scientist, and he discovers that if you are able to tap into a specific frequency, you can access alternate dimensions, you can access alternate places. We would say if you understand frequency on a in-depth level, you would, for example, be able to travel from where you are sitting to the frequency of the place you desire to be. You are understanding frequency has variations. Frequency, each object has a specific frequency.
Mm-hmm.
You are having a specific frequency. The channel is having a specific frequency.
Yes, I understand.
Your frequency is unique to you. Yes, you are raising your consciousness and you are increasing your frequency, but you are experiencing a unique frequency that is the representation of your physical body and your personality and your frequency.
So then when it comes to energy, you said that meditation and following one's highest joy and things of that nature help
Yes, you
increase
are
the energy.
raising your frequency. When you are meditating, you are releasing resistance. We will give you an analogy. One moment. This is a crude analogy, but we will use this analogy. We will say you are existing and you have a bubble, and your bubble is glass. And when you are having resistance, you are having dirt on your glass, and you are unable to receive light from the sun through your glass to your being. When you are meditating, you are naturally clearing away the resistance and the debris and opening up more space for the sun to flow into your being.
That makes sense. Thank you. Can you tell us about the law of attraction?
Yes, this is an organizing law or principle in your reality. You are desiring something. There is a delay in your reality. You are experiencing time-space reality. We are existing beyond time-space reality. You are experiencing law of attraction. We are experiencing a attraction, but you are experiencing it in linear time. And when you are giving your focus to an energy, you are, we will say, creating or drawing to you that which is a like vibration that you are outputting or focusing on, however you decide to understand it or conceptualize it.
Are there any other universal laws?
There are different laws within different dimensions as well.
Would you like to go into any of them with us today?
We would not. This is a large topic, and we would like you to focus on your reality.
Okay. So in this reality, we tend to have duality.
Yes.
Does this exist where you guys are?
We are not existing in a state of duality. You are experiencing much more separateness than we are experiencing. You are experiencing a larger range of emotions as well, and you are experiencing a larger range of polarity than we are.
And what's the purpose of this?
You are seeking experience. You are seeking understanding. You are seeking knowing of yourself.
So then, would it be safe to assume that we came down here to this planet to experience it for exactly what it is? Or is there such things as coincidence?
Well, we would say synchronicities instead of coincidences. But we feel this question is confusing.
It probably is. I didn't think I phrased it very well.
That is alright. We are not judging you. We would just like to pinpoint your choice of focus.
I'll try to rephrase it. So if we are here to experience things in this reality, and that include duality is a fundamental part of that.
Yes, this is a large aspect of the reality you are experiencing.
So
Duality to the extreme level that you are experiencing it.
So let's say when someone is born into a family that doesn't understand them, or they have a very difficult time growing up, or there's all these unique experiences that people carry with them.
Yes, you are
Did they
all having
choose
varied
this?
experiences. Within this room alone, the beings in this room chose different experiences. And yes, you choose your experience. You choose your parents. You choose your incarnation. You choose. You are knowing when you are entering what you are choosing. You are... The universe is experiencing itself. It is seeking understanding, it is seeking variety, it is seeking, we will say, depths and colors and shades and feelings. And when you experience a beautiful sunset, how are you able to discern it is a beautiful sunset?
I would say it's subjective to the person.
And would you agree that by experiencing cloudy skies, you are able to appreciate and experience more deeply sunny days?
Yeah, the contrast certainly helps.
Yes. The universe is experiencing itself in this same way.
So then duality would be a natural process here.
We do not like the phrasing natural process. What is your meaning by natural process? When you say natural, this word feels limiting, and it feels not expansive enough for what we are speaking of.
When I mean natural, I would venture to say that it is...
We would like to play with you for one moment.
Yeah.
we want to clarify. When we were saying natural is limiting, for example, to average society, you would say what's natural to you, and they would say things like, I will get a job, I will go to work, I will have a retirement, and when I am old, I will enjoy myself. To the average person, this would be a natural experience. So we would like to be clear about what that means. And also, when you are creating words and language, you are putting meanings behind words, and oftentimes these meanings get translated and retranslated, and they are losing their meaning, and they have different meanings and understandings for different people based on their knowledge of culture and vocabulary. So when you are trying to minimize anything into one thing, you are limiting it, and this is a universe of diversity and expansive expression. This is why we are picking on you and teasing you about the word natural.
I think it's very fair that you said that explanation there, because you're right.
Please
What
rephrase
someone
your
can
question.
say
We
is
will
different
play.
than what I guess I'm just simply asking. Then duality is something that we have to experience here.
Duality, to the extreme you are experiencing it, is unique to your universe. There are alternate realities, we will say, universes that are experiencing different degrees of polarity, different expressions of, we cannot call it humanity because they are many diverse beings, different expressions of beingness. So we would say, if you may hone your question more to your reality, then we will answer your question.
I mean, you pretty much answered it. I just wanted to know if duality was something we have to go through, or
Which is the
or can we
experience you
bypass
are
it
having.
and go to something more.
We know
seemingly
you
more
would like to
connected.
skip pass go and collect $200, but you are seeking this experience. When you chose to incarnate, you were choosing to have this experience. You were choosing to have this limitation of polarity of time and space, and we find it very humorous that when you humans are awakening, you are desiring to immediately change your realities and break the laws of your universe.
Thank you for that. So I'd like to go into then. We have this thing called religion here.
Yes, we know your religion.
There's a lot of different kinds, and each one of them thinks they're right. So, from your perspective, is any one of them right? Is anything right? Is it just a social construct?
We would say that there was a time and place when... One moment. We would not like to be offensive. We will speak in terms of time. In your history, you had periods where there was a need or a natural expression of your needs within religion. There were intentions, and when energies are involved and they are following their path of least resistance, there is changes in these expressions. So we would say at the time they begun, they had an appropriate role, and these roles have become out of balance. There are aspects of mysticism in your religions that are touching the true nature of reality. We would say the level of understanding of any person in interaction with any of these religions might be able to sort through the information and find the aspects that they resonate with that are closer to the truth. So we would not say they do not have purpose or that they are wrong, but we will say they have become out of balance. The need of understanding for one's own sovereignty was muddied and became misaligned. It became distorted, and there were traditions where there were things passed down orally through your history, and when information and Jesus and Buddha spread through regions, they were being filtered through languages and cultures and people are having beliefs, and these, we will use the Bible for example. There are many versions of the Bible. There were many translations and misunderstandings, and that is all right. But what we would say is, when people are able to begin to create their own connection with the universe, God, source, all that is, whatever you would like to call it, though we would prefer not to say God, because on your planet there is a connotation, there are many strings attached to this expression of the word, and it has become a version that humanity has painted. And we would not say religious people are unable of awakening, but we would say a lot of people may become distracted by the structure or the system of religion and lose their sense of sovereignty, their sense of self, their natural orientation to seek understanding and ascension. It may become distracted within that structure and within that polarized view that there is good and there is bad and there is judgments, and your religions are often very judgmental. Then the person is remaining within that polarized spectrum, but they are remaining on the polarized end instead of the apex, the integrated end. And your world has had many wars over religion. How may you be of peace if you are seeking war? How may you be of love if you are seeking violence in the name of love? There is a misunderstanding, there is a disconnect.
Thank you for that. Is there anything you'd like to pinpoint as being a big threat to our humanity at this time?
Well, we would say a better question would be, how might we best improve ourselves or our society at this time? What would be most beneficial for our society at this time? Because when you are phrasing your question in this energy, in this way, you are seeking the energy of peace. And when you phrase your question in the way of what is our greatest threat, you are unknowingly placing your energy in resistance or contrast. And we would say one of the most important things that we could invite you to experience would be your own sense of sovereignty and your own sense of divinity and your own power and your own connection to all that is. In your seeking of this relationship and this understanding, you may have many experiences and you will have much growth, but you will also have much understanding. When you are able to resolve the conflict or the polarization within yourself, you are able to contribute more to the collective. You are also able to shift your reality to what you are connecting with and what you are creating.
So I have a curiosity of what are angels? Because they seem to have a religious connotation.
Yes.
But
we would say the energy of angels, you could call guides, you could call benevolent, loving beings. Angels are just one name and one framework they have been placed within. They are not always and usually not having wings, but you are perceiving them with wings because you are perceiving them through the filter of your energy. And that is all right. They do not mind if you paint wings on them or not.
So they definitely do exist, and they're beyond what a religious structure would say.
Yes, energy does exist,
yeah.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
You are all often receiving from these beings, but you are not aware that the assistance or awarenesses or experiences you are having are being flowed through these beings to you. You are knowing that you are being assisted sometimes, and sometimes you are not knowing. There are some people who think there is no structure or order to the universe, and that is all right. And there are those who think they are receiving from one being, and there are those who are not knowing how they are receiving, and they do not know where to give credit, or they do not give credit. And we are not saying credit is the point. These beings do not care for credit, but we are saying they are assisting you, and there are those who are open and aware of this assistance, and there are those who are not, and that is all right. But if you are If you are excited by the idea of angels or the energy that angels represent, then we would say you may continue your exploration into their energy and work with these beings. They are available to you. You only need to set your intention, and they will be here assisting you.
Thank you for that. So I'd like to know a little bit more about soulmates and twin flames. It's a bit of a jump.
That's all
but
right.
I think it'd be a question the audience would probably want to.
When you are feeling
understand.
you are being random, we are not judging you. We are accepting what is happening in the moment. We have no baseline that we are comparing this to, so you need not apologize for your order of questions. Please repeat your question.
So I just want to know more about the topic of soulmates and twin flames and things of that nature.
We would say, in your society, you are putting more emphasis on the idea of a romantic counterpart, and you are labeling this your soulmate. Our perspective is all of the people you are interacting with, the people in your life, are your soulmates. We would say it is all right to view a person you are having resonance with as a soulmate. You may meet a friend or you may meet a romantic partner, and you may immediately sense the resonance between you and this person. And you may say, oh, we are soulmates, and that is fine. That is colorful language. But we would just like to open the definitions and the boxes and limitations of the idea of soulmates being only one person, one being, and also of them only being of a romantic or sexual nature. You have many soulmates. You might even consider being, in your experience, who you view in your personality perspective as an enemy, as a soulmate. From another level, you may be old and dear friends, and you are choosing to incarnate in these roles for each other and with each other for your learning experience. We would say twin flames apply just as we spoke about soulmates. There are resonance. We would like to clarify, there is possibility of resonance. There are beings you have had alternate experiences and are having alternate experiences with. As you are aware, time is existing all simultaneously. So you may feel more resonance with a person, and you would like to label them as a twin flame, but what you are sensing is your resonance.
So when we come to this earth, are you suggesting that we do not come alone?
You are often being born in groups. There are experiences where there are those who are desiring an experience of more isolation. They may incarnate without having as much sense of community in the soul sense. But yes, you are incarnating with others.
Is karma real?
We would reframe the definition of karma. When you are understanding law of attraction, there is an energy output, and you are outputting your energy at a certain frequency, and you are, by nature of law of attraction, calling in a matching or compatible frequency with that which you are outputting. We would say this is how we would like you to think of karma. In your society, when you say karma, there may be a feeling of you are experiencing a negative experience because of a past life or alternate life trauma, or that you are experiencing punishment or reward from an alternate system. And we would say this is all right if there is this perspective. There is growth in all perspectives and all ways of being, and we are not judging those ways of being. But if you are seeking more expansion, we would say to loosen your beliefs in the idea of karma. When you are saying this is my karma, then you are choosing ownership of this. You are claiming this trauma and you are giving it a story, and you are reinforcing your experience of this story. And the law of attraction will match you with the matching resonance of the story you are creating. To make this more tangible, we would also say if you are experiencing a negative experience and you are feeling that this is karmic, that you allow yourself, accept that you are experiencing this experience first. And then when you are able to allow this experience, you may notice how you are feeling, and however you are feeling it is acceptable. If you are feeling happy about an experience, that is equally as acceptable as if you are having sadness about an experience. But if you are rejecting the experience, or you are hiding yourself from this awareness of this experience, then you are perpetuating the experience and creating more of that vibrational match, and you might interpret this as karma.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yes, you are welcome.
Trying to see if I have any other questions for today, but I think we might have to see if the audience has any particular questions they want to ask.
You mind the audience?
Yes.
Sure. 2 years ago, I was in my room at night, and I live in a very secluded area, and I don't know if I'm crazy or just delirious or something, but...
Yes, you are crazy. We are just joking. Please continue your story.
It was like 2 a.m., really quiet, and all of a sudden I heard 2 voices directly in front of me, almost like speaking through like a wall, really muffled, and it was just for like maybe 2 seconds, like
oh yes,
very, very quickly, and I thought it almost felt like I was listening to like a woman or a child speak to a man, and then the woman or child said something else.
Oh yes, you are tapping into alternate realities, perceptions. You are often having within your reality, you are experiencing this reality. You are experiencing this living room, and you are experiencing the beings that are present. What you are unaware of is within this space, there are alternate realities and experience happening. You are not perceiving them because you are tuned to your frequency of your reality. There is a belief within your world of these thinning of the veil hours, and you are opening yourself through your belief systems. Another means you are experiencing more perceptions that you are not allowing to enter your being within your waking hours. Yes.
Oh, okay.
The channel also has experienced what you are speaking of, or she would experience peek through moments where she would hear a being state her name. And we understand this can be sometimes scary or unnerving for you, but if you are courageous and curious, you may be led into a awakening experience through these experiences.
Oh, yeah, it was actually surprisingly comforting. Like, I wasn't scared at all. Like, it was 2 a.m. by myself in the dark and heard voices, and I was like, oh, interesting.
That is wonderful. You are not experiencing fear. That is wonderful. And we would say there are times where you feel you are being awoken and you are feeling calling to you, and we would say to open yourself in these moments of experience and what might happen.
I'm trying to think of anything else. I don't know. Trisha, help me out. Is there anything that...
Well, that actually made me think of some things. Yeah. I'd like to... Could you tell us the difference between alternate realities, parallel realities?
We would say they are the same thing, but we could be more clear in that you sometimes think of parallel realities as the version of you that made a different choice. There is a version of Trisha who did not come to California on this day. And what is that version of Trisha's life like? And you often label this version a parallel reality version of yourself. But when you are existing beyond time, you will understand that or when you are raising your awareness, you will understand that every moment is an alternate reality, and you are flowing your consciousness on another level through these experiences.
That makes sense. Thank you.
I have another question.
Yeah, go for it.
So earlier you were talking about frequencies and energy between people, and then some people just kind of clash in frequency.
Yeah.
Would you consider that chemistry in our world?
Sometimes there is a magnetism that is offering opportunity or learning. Sometimes it is created based on frequency creation. So if you are, for example, driving in traffic and you are experiencing road rage and you are having upset moments and you are yelling at people, then if you are creating with this energy for a certain amount of time, you have now created momentum within that experience, and you will now connect with others who are matching or complementary to that experience and your beliefs. So if you are conversely experiencing a joyous, appreciative day and you are moving through your world and you are saying, oh wonderful a butterfly, oh wonderful a hummingbird, how beautiful the sun is, how beautiful the mountains are, and then you are rendezvousing with different people in this, we will say, parallel reality where maybe you find $10 on the ground and you are saying, I needed exactly $10. There are all of these possibilities that you are able to experience from your now moment, but you limit the likelihood or the, we will just say likelihood, but if you are having beliefs that you may only receive money under rare circumstances, then the options of receiving money in that day or from that moment will now be not available to you. And if you are creating from a certain frequency, if you are having this many possibilities in front of you, but your frequency is in this range, then you are limiting yourself to this limit of possibilities. And so when we are inviting you to open yourself and open your belief, you are breaking up the resistance and you are opening yourself and your being to possibilities, to alternate realities that you may connect with. Vibration and frequency are everything in your experience.
So Nikola Tesla was onto something.
We will say many scientists are often receiving, yes. And there are those who are non-physical, who are flowing their attention and energy through, with, and to these beings. So when you are seeking to learn something new or express yourself, or you are having a goal, or you are having an experience, even making art or cooking, you are able to tap into infinite consciousness. You are able to tap into infinite assistance. You are able to receive ideas that you need just as you need them, or inclinations or extrasensory experiences that will allow you to move in the direction that you need. As we mentioned earlier, you are often seeking to move from point A to point B, and you expect it to be in this line, and you want it to look this way, and it'll look like this person, and it'll come through this box or this email, when it might be a letter in the mail, or it might be a person on the street saying something you need to hear at the moment you need to hear it. The path may look like this instead of this, and this path may get you here faster than this path. But if you are insistent on going in on this path in the straight line, and in the one way you have limited yourself to be able to receive from the universe, then you will delay your creation. Do you understand what we are?
I do. I'd like to, though, jump into, just for those who, some people I know do not understand the idea of intuition, or they feel they don't have it. So is that possible? Or
Yes.
is it a more, okay.
Intuition is communication. It's information from your inner being, from the universe itself. When you are opening yourself you are able to receive more of these informations and communications. If you are not believing that you are having intuition or you are able to tap into it, we would invite that being to challenge themselves to begin to consciously catch those thoughts and we would not like them to catch them and hold on to them and say, why are you here? We would like them to allow that thought, the awareness of that thought to be present, and we would like them to challenge their belief system. If they are seeing others with this intuition, they may look at that and say, oh, Trisha, she is a very aligned person. She is always in the right place at the right time. And this may open their belief system and their perception of such things, or they may speak to the universe or inside of themselves the desire to have this intuition, to have this openness, and they may invite in from the universe possibilities or opportunities to experience their own intuition. And we would say meditation is such a wonderful tool.
Thank you. Do you have any questions, audience? Any further ones?
Yeah, I guess what you were talking about, having the path, like following a path that's kind of out of it, you feel like you're almost going out of your way, but that actually might be faster to get to your goal because you learn all these lessons and you end up in the places that you should be and meet the people that you should meet. And I definitely relate to that because for the past few months it's kind of weird. I keep talking to my mom, and I think that within my life in the past, I just moved out to California, and it feels like everything is kind of falling into place in such a weird way. And
yes, you are recognizing synchronicity, and how wonderful! What a wonderful awareness.
It's been it almost feels cosmic, it's like, oh wow, I met this person, in a few months, I'll be like, wow, I can see why I met this person, or why this event happened.
And that awareness is also a gift, and it is wonderful that you are able to discern that awareness, and your focus and awareness of that awareness will increase the potential of having more awarenesses such as these, and you are feeling more supported by the universe, and you will allow yourself to experience more possibilities. This is wonderful.
That's really good news because I've been feeling positive about it, and it feels the more I pick up on it, the more it happens.
The momentum, you build it up.
It feels weird. It feels like it's almost like somebody tapping you on the shoulder and be like, you're on the right path.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You are receiving. Yes, you are.
I like hearing that. Thanks, Seekers.
Well, thank you, Seekers, for being here with us. I would say tonight, but you guys don't receive time the same we do. So I'm going to have to wrap it up for this session today. But I do want to thank you for being here with us. Is there anything, last words you'd like to speak with us about? Something we must know as a collective?
Oh, we would say, allow yourself more care and self-love. And we understand that there are those who are feeling inundated by the words self-care and self-love, but when you are actually facing yourself and beginning to understand the importance of self-care and self-love and applying that to yourself, you are able to not only affect change in your own life, but you are assisting the collective. And when you are working on becoming the best, happiest version of yourself, when you are focused on becoming the balanced, happy version of Trisha, or following your passions and excitements, you are more open as a person. You are more allowing of yourself, and when you are more allowing of yourself, you are more allowing of others, and you are able to release beliefs and resistance that may be holding you back or limiting the amount of higher consciousness you are receiving and embodying. And we know you are seeking improvement in your world, and we would say spend your time focusing on the things you appreciate, the things that are working out, the wonderful people who are doing wonderful things, and focus on yourself, focus on balancing yourself and feeling your own sovereignty and your own divinity and your own connection to the universe, and you will keep following your unfolding. and you will experience many things. And oh, how exciting it is. When you came here, you were seeking to surprise yourself. You were seeking to have experiences that stimulated yourself. And we understand from your higher being's perspective, stimulating may mean different things, but in either case, you are here for the journey, and why not enjoy the ride? And we would like to thank you for allowing us to speak with you this evening. We have much enjoyed this conversation.
It's no problem. I'm really glad that you guys are here and willing to speak with us, and do this little interview here. And if you ever want to come back on, just let Miyoko know and we'll make it happen.
Yes, we are enjoying your interactions and your communications.
Thank you very much. So, guys, this is Trisha from 90 Degree Turns, and we have Miyoko here with The Seekers. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode.